What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. It's that time where Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization has posted like a ton, all at once, of the final reveals of Blazing Vortex. There's so many cards, so as a React Andy, I've gone ahead and done tab after tab, opening all of these up, but not reading them yet. So let's go ahead and get into each card and see what I think of them live. First off, we have Bluff Reach Jackpot, maybe. So this looks like it is a field spell card. When you conduct your normal draw during your draw phase, you can reveal one of those drawn cards, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw a card. So basically, if this lasts a whole turn, you're able to replace your draw. And if for some reason you would draw multiple cards during your draw phase, even though it says conduct your normal draw, I guess it's being very specific in case something updates the game. I don't freaking know. Well, your normal draw can be replaced for a new draw. When you draw a card or cards by card effect, you can reveal one of those drawn cards, send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw a card. So if you don't like something that is drawn off, say, Extravagance, you could redraw. Well, Extravagance is a bad example, right? The Extrav stops you from drawing more cards, and this specifically draws a card. So I guess something like Desires, you could replace one of the two cards with this. An interesting field spell to hedge RNG. I don't know that it's really worth the slot, but also in terms of maybe a backup field spell if you're running set rotation where it's useful if you draw it, I would still prefer to give the opponent something useless that they can't flip up, maybe like the Black Luster Soldier field spell or Oracle field spell. Hopefully they're not playing those decks. I digress. Interesting field spell. Stationary 1 o'clock linear accelerator. That's quite a name. Puns are hard, and so is Yu-Gi-Oh! As they ask you to do math. So this is a normal trap card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. During the battle phase, declare a number from 1 to 6. Choose one effect monster your opponent controls, and if the chosen monster's level times the declared number plus the number of cards your opponent controls equals to the number of cards. Okay, what? What is happening here? I'm Math Man with the calculator in the channel and all that, and I'm getting a headache reading this card. I almost don't want to finish. Alright, during the battle phase, declare a number from 1 to 6. Choose one effect monster your opponent controls, not target, choose, and if the chosen monster's level times the declared number plus the number of cards in your opponent's control equals the number of cards in your graveyard, send the cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number you declared, and if you do, shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck up to the number of cards sent to the graveyard by this effect. If not, you lose life points equal to the declared number of 500. So you just have to be 500 galaxy-brained IQ to shuffle basically your opponent's deck or field back into the deck and mill your deck into the graveyard. This is one headache of a card in the first place, but I'm pretty sure you can just do simple math. All right, you choose, so let's say they have a level 4, and it specifically has to be a level, not a rank, not a link rating. It has to be a level. Let's say it's a level 4 monster, and they have 2 cards on the field, right? So you call 2, and so the number of cards your opponent controls equals number of cards in your graveyard. So you would also have to have exactly 2 cards already in your graveyard while they have 2 cards. This is a bit wonky for the build-up boards. Even for the control decks, it's a bit weird. The lineup for this shot seems quite out there to actually be happening, and Konami seems to have predicted that, but you have a range of 6 to choose from. Yikes, I can't tell if this is like a big brain amazing card or just really bad card. Somebody's gonna like crunch the math over an entire video and probably clip me in trying to even figure this out through my head. Kaminari Guy-Clops. We're just punning all over the place. Just make it a tune and union and be done with it. This is a Wind Thunder 4 Pendulum Effect Tuner Monster. Jeez, give it everything, why don't you? Attack 1400, defense 1700, Pendulum Effect once per turn. You can target a Pendulum monster you control and one monster your opponent controls, change their battle positions. Not the biggest deal. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, is used for a synchro summon, banish it. You can only use this card named second and third monster effects once per turn each. If this card's normal summon, change this card's battle position. If this card's battle position changes, you can target a face-up spell or trap card on the field, destroy it. If this card in the Pendulum Zone is destroyed, you can return a card in your Pendulum Zone to the hand. I guess for effects that are not hard once per turns, that might be kind of good. Not a ton of things come off the top of my head, but I'm sure Triff is already comboing into 200 negates off of it. Now, this looks like a little chaos card, a tricky demon for a variety of strange tactics. So, Amano Kujaki is a level 3 light fiend tuner effect monster. Everything's a tuner. Attack 1,000, defense 1,000. You cannot activate the effects of your other special summon monsters with the same attribute as this card, so it shuts out all lights of your own, not your opponent's. Once per turn, during this card's owner's main phase, quick effect, you can give control of this card to your opponent, then you can change this card's attribute until any attribute. So you go, woot, you can't activate anything with this, but it's so if anything's chainable though, like you're trying to change control and call win, it can be stopped. It's a once per turn, but it's a soft once per turn. I see what they're going for, but since things can just chain, it doesn't stuff or negate, it just stops activations. It's a little weaker, but I guess it could force some cards in an untimely manner. It's nice little card design for Yu-Gi-Oh! I like when they get creative like this. Now, this does look like a Chaos Dragon. A new dragon appears meant to support Chaos, okay? We've got Fluorescent Fluorescence, and this is a level 4 light dragon effect monster, attack 1,600, defense 800. When this card is normal summoned while your opponent controls a monster, yikes, going second card, you can discard one card, send any number of Fluorescent from your deck to the graveyard. Once per turn, if this card is in the graveyard, that's a soft once per turn. Once per turn, if this card is in the graveyard, you can make this card in the graveyard become a dark till the end of the turn. So I guess you can fill your graveyard full of cards that can choose if they're light or dark. By how I'm reading it, doesn't seem to be a hard once per turn, but it has to be specifically normal summon. They have to have a monster. I'm not feeling that one too much, but let me know if you think this secondary thing, giving the options for light or dark, is worth it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not feeling it. I think there's better extenders. Unless they're going to really murder Dragon Link into the ground, and even then I think there's better backup cards. Archfiend Staff of Despair. Kneel in despair before the Lord of Yamimakai. This looks a lot just, it's like Axe of Despair, and the Axe of Despair is technically an Archfiend now. So Archfiend Staff of Despair is an equipped spell card. Equip only to a monster you control. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. During your main phase, you can make all face-up monsters your opponent controls currently lose attack equal to half the equipped monsters until the end of the turn. That's big for boss monsters on your build board workshop. Like, lowering everything by 1,500 is actually kind of a big deal. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can pay 1,000 life points and add it back to your hand. So if the monster goes, this was equipped, this wasn't dealt with, it just pops back up for 1,000. Usually you're getting OTK'd if something like that's happening. It's okay. It's a good retrain of Axe of Despair in a sense of, well, you're weakening all the other monsters instead of strengthening your own, and in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Your board building helps you OTK. I still think negation things like Droplet will be better, but cool card design and a cool reimagining of Axe of Despair. Electromagnetic Railgun. So seriously, when does the Machine King become a deck? We are seeing a lot more cards with him. He was with like all the appliances and stuff, right? Electromagnetic Railgun. Well, that was the big 5 machine guy, but Machine King as a deck, maybe with that guy mixed in, would be cool. This is a normal trap card. Tribute 1 machine monster, then target up to 1 card on the field for every 1,000 original attack the tributed monster had. Destroy them. So a big machine card would be a pop 3 for your 2, a little better of a modern day Icarus attack depending on what you're attributing, but likely an Icarus attack or even a Regeki break pop 1. It's okay, it's generically for machines. It's a bit slow for a modern day trap card though, but not the worst thing in the world. Ancient Warrior! Alright, Ancient Warrior Saga's A Man's Honor. We get new Ancient Warrior support to support the new Lubu card. This is the Saga A Man's Honor continuous trap card. You can only use this card's name once in first and third effect once per turn each. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can special summon an Ancient Warrior Dragon token. If an Ancient Warrior monster or monsters would be destroyed by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard instead, while giving a little resilience to the deck for the slowness of a trap card. Third effect, when a card or effect is activated that targets an Ancient Warrior monster or monsters on the field, you can banish this card from your graveyard and negate the activation. Double protection for different things! That's kind of cool. So you get a targeting and destruction protection in a sense out of the same card, so it becomes useful after its life. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like this, but it's a little bit too too fair still. The token generation is also negligible because it's when the opponent special summons, so it's like putting stuff on your field while they're already going to be breaking you down, and that's a hard once per turn. It's not like you get a bunch of chum blockers or anything, but interesting nonetheless. Ooh, Virtual World getting some new stuff, and it's a trap card once again. Virtual World Gate Zhuangwu. I don't know, I'm probably murdering names right now, guys. Continuous trap card, you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn each. During the battle phase, if you control another Virtual World Gate card, you can target one face-up monster on the field, change its battle position. Again, all these battle positions changing. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Virtual World monster in your graveyard, special summon it. But its effects are negated, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. That's a little bit fair for a card, especially a trap card. So when I say it's fair for a card, it just means it's not likely to be good in the meta. These are interesting back and forth things and more of the casual setting. But like, battle position changing, you can't affect a link monster. This you're pitching in order for revival, and you have to have set up for multiple turns. Feels a bit sag, man. Unless there's like, I'd have to look at Virtual World again, ways to just slap the traps face up. They might actually have that. I'd have to relook. Dual Avatar Tuning, a normal trap card. You can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn each. Target a dual avatar monster you control, destroy it, and if you do special summon from your deck or extra deck one dual avatar monster that is one original level higher than that other monsters. That's a little interesting, specifically destroy and be able to do this stuff. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a dual avatar monster in graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's trying to give a lot back for being a trap once again, but in the modern day, it feels like traps are very slow unless our metagame slows down, where all these build-a-board workshops are doing negates and you have nothing to use your trap with, or you're going first and you won the dice roll. Machina on Class Pare. I've been looking forward to this. I knew we got a Machina. I don't know what it does. This is one of the reveals I'm really looking forward to most. A level 4 Dark Machine effect monster. Attack 1800, defense 800. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn each. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon this card. Also, you can't special summon monsters the rest of the turn except machine monsters. That's still pretty good, and it's not even Machina, it's Machine. That's a pretty good card. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Machina monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for, it's a special and a foolish on normal or special. That's pretty nice for the deck. I like this card. This is a good card for Machina. It's one of the things that they were kind of missing. We've seen the Machina engine actually come into play in the Rogue category a little bit. It's still on the outside looking in of even Rogue in our metagame, but they needed a card like this, and I like that a lot unless I'm misunderstanding something. If it's added to your hand except by drawing it, you special summon it, and then you're just machine locked, and then when it's normal or special, yeah, I like it. That's a good card. That's a good freaking update. Paladin of Armor Dragon and Ritual Spell. That's kind of cool. Yes, even Armed Dragon gets its own Paladin Ritual. Oh, I love these. Back in the day, I love the thought of Blue Eyes having the kind of ritual mix in, and tried to make a casual deck around it. Level 4 Wind Dragon Ritual effect monster. Attack 1900, defense 1200, just like the Paladins. You can ritual summon this card with Armored Dragon Ritual. You can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn each. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster special summoned from the extra deck, you can shuffle that monster into the deck. That's kind of a new level of removal, and that's pretty darn good. You contribute this card, special summon a level 5 or higher Wind Dragon monster from hand or deck. Those are two pretty big payoffs in terms of removal and that, but it can just get negated a lot of the time, I assume. So whenever it's getting negated, it's just going to get shut down. But the tribute effect is also pretty cool if you have to deal with something on board as an option. But 2 cards to summon this. Let's see what this does. You can only use the second effect once per turn. Ritual summon a Paladin of Armed Dragon from your hand by tributing monsters on hand or field equal to the rating of 4, so you still have to get both together. It does specifically name it, so pre-prep can just get you to this. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish monsters from your hand or field face-up levels equal 4 or more. Banish this card from your graveyard and special summon Paladin of Armored Dragon from the graveyard. So it has to be properly summoned in the first place since it is a ritual, but this will resummon and reoccur. So if you pre-prep, you get both together. You then use 3 total cards still to summon this in order to kind of combo off with it. It's still an enabler card, but I feel like there's a lot of choke points that can go wrong here for everything you're putting into it, but an interesting concept nonetheless. As an Armed Dragon player, let me know if you've been testing this on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or anything. How do you feel about this? Looking forward to Blazing Vortex to what you've already been playing. It's cool. And I saw this art, and it made me think, wow, if only Dream Mirrors had only been a dream, but I haven't read this card, so let's see what it actually does. Dream telling of the Dream Magic Mirror, or Dream Mirror Dream Telling, continuous trap card. Shuffle any Dream Mirror monsters you control that tributes itself to activate its own effect into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. Interesting. During the main phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, place face-up in your field zone one of your Dream Mirror of Joy or Terror that is banished in your graveyard. Then you can special summon a monster from your hand, specifically list the place in the text. Yeah, that's not the biggest deal for Dream Mirrors. Doesn't fix them, doesn't do much for them. Cute card art, but it really just makes me think, yeah, if only this archetype had been a dream. Sorry to harp too hard on you guys who did like it. The concept of lightness and darkness coming together in a deck and doing the thing was so almost there, but it just didn't quite do it for me. I'm loving all these legacy support updates. Like, everything kind of does some nostalgia pandering updates, some archetypes here. It is pretty cool, and I'm liking the lore and how some of the new card design is. Nothing too significant. Maybe this card's crazy and bonkers. Maybe Mathman needs to work harder on this, and I'm just not in the mood to. But I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna go get fit a little bit more instead of brain smart here. But maybe this card's broken? Question mark. I'm not gonna turn this out in a live reaction. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's your job in the comments section now. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. And there's like 14 or 15 cards or whatever it is for Blazing Vortex. What a ride.